Good morning. It's Friday. Happy Venus Friday, the 5th. And so we're basically at the beginning of this Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. And, Mercury retrogrades in the same element usually over a calendar year. So we'll do Aquarius, and then next it'll be Gemini, and in the fall it'll be Libra. But the air signs are the human signs. They're reasonable. Somebody had to set those scales on the table somewhere. So Libra, even though the scales, it's the balancing of the ego and the soul. What's in my best interest? What are my values? My. And then the soul is what is the growth and evolutionary expectation. So there's the Libra energy. And then the Aquarius one, basically when it went retrograde last Saturday, it stopped on the United States moon in Aquarius. The moon represents the people, the masses. So Mercury's doing its upper world. Let's talk about our higher aspirations or our loftier ones. Earth, the middle world, which is basically how we live in our day to day. And then Mercury, as his guide of souls, also known as the psychopomp, can go into the underworld. Unlike Persephone, who ate those pomegranate seeds and had to stay there part of the year, Mercury doesn't have that kind of limitation to his travel, basically. And so we're all being asked to travel. What are we aspiring to? What are we working on and aligning with? And then what are our motivations? And it's just a simple honesty exercise. Well, it's not so simple for certain people, but it's important to realize that the retrograde Mercury time periods have a lot to do with our ability to slow down and check our intention behind our communication. And with it happening in Aquarius until February 20th, all in Aquarius, so it doesn't back up into Capricorn, it can suggest what are individual responsibilities for connecting to common good or public good or our community, and our first communities are our families. So the fixed signs of Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius have certain crisis points of development. Aquarius with identity, and then Scorpio with career and, I mean, home and privacy and psychological and emotional foundations. And then Leo being Aquarius's opposite has a lot to do with relational energies, ego, soul, and then how your inner relationship with that, how that's reflected in your actual middle world day to day relationships. And then last and certainly not least, Taurus is about career, public standing, status, hierarchy. And then if we think of the mutable signs who are adaptable, learning how to adapt, learning how to use their minds to study the element. Pisces looks back on Aquarius and says, was I that kooky? Was I that rebellious? And so they kind of mutate or change into the soul development of understanding, um, offering empathy and compassion to others. So you might be, as a Pisces, feel like there's some unfinished business, or people have been coming back into your life during this retrograde period. It could start as early as January 14th, 15th. Um, that it doesn't have to be exactly at the time that the planet goes retrograde. That's based on your 12th room or 12th house being activated by Aquarius. Uh, Gemini would be uh, interested in play and self determination, feeling like how you can reevaluate how you're the co creator of your existence and or not, right? And using this to maybe seek out counsel or advice to make sense of things. And same with your opposite sign of Sagittarius that may need to pay attention to those so-called synchronicities, whether it's triple fours, triple fives, 1111, or just texting someone and they said that you were just thinking about them, recognizing the way in which the soul and the universes work to keep you on path. And then Virgo, as a mutable sign, Aquarius represents their sixth room of submission to service, submission to work, submission to a partner, and submission. can be taken to its literal extreme, either in the bedroom or wherever. But it's about submitting to an ideal, and hopefully those ideals are shared. And then, as we talk about in our raw materials, and if you haven't uh, subscribed to that channel, our raw materials is the YouTube channel that Tavish Cardiff and I work on. So it is submitting to shared ideals so you can manifest those ideals personally as values in your life. It's a Virgo kind of thrust during this Mercury retrograde, and that's one of your rulers, And so it's really important for the Geminis, the Virgos, and even the air signs. And you throw in Aquarius because it's happening in your sign. And certainly, last but not least, the cardinal energy of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Aries looks at Aquarius as a friendship sibling sign. So they both like freedom, but from different elemental expectations. Aquarius wants intellectual freedom to think whatever it wants to do and to kind of set itself outside of its community or its family, observing this is Aquarius now, observing what they're getting or not getting, and then in a way deciding consciously where they're going to seek independence apart from whatever commitments have been made. Aries takes that and acts on it more impulsively because it's a identity building fire sign. So this Mercury retrograde can have Aries saying, "Am I really making the world a better place, or Am I? And why am I? And what needs do I have for love and for attention, or am I connecting to higher ideals or planetary ideals?" And then Cancer looks at Aquarius for its freedom from its emotional, um, codependent melee, just that, constantly being in response or reacting to others, people, stimuli, whatever. So Aquarius kind of gives it that space that if you're going to have a hurricane, Aquarius says, or you're going to create one or chaos, Aquarius teaches Cancer how to at least be the center of it. So the calmest aspect where you might leave incredible emotional destruction in your wake, because as personal of that Cancer is, I feel Aquarius can be impersonal. I know, or we will if we use the Leo connection there. So Cancers can be pretty inscrutable or sneaky, sphinx like about where they want freedom or not. And this Mercury retrograde may have them tripping over certain things that they wanted to hide that have come out into the open. And that goes for all of us. And then Libra, being of the same air element, uh, Aquarius is the ethicist for Libra. Ask those very difficult questions that maybe no one else other than maybe a Scorpio will ask a Libra, and it gets them connected to um, a sense of their soul's purpose, a sense of their interconnectedness. Because Libra is the sign where you get initiated into the other, the soul, the ability to recognize those interconnected relational pieces, even the butterfly effect. From that perspective, you make a decision and it affects other decisions. Um, sort of like time travel in sci-fi in that way. And then last but not least is Capricorn, and Aquarius represents the taking care of business of Capricorn, that brilliance that they can have about values and money and self-worth, and being able to make the most out of understanding what society needs and then taking advantage of it. After all, Capricorn's key phrase is "I use." It ends on February 20th. Know that I think the impeachment trial, second impeachment trial, is kind of a destiny point for our nation. And with Mercury, retrograding on the moon, as I explained, it's about getting all of the people to understand what is your individual participation and contribution into our democracy, and how can we create more public and common good to balance out a hyper and very toxic individualism. And yeah, that's enough. Happy Venus Friday.